Hello, hello. Hey there, hey there. Welcome into another edition of Between the Lines. I'm Josh Ellis, editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. And today we're talking about the November-December issue, and specifically the corner office piece in our entrepreneurship chapter. It's written by one of our favorites, Jeff Sullivan. Jeff, thanks for being back here on Between the Lines.
Of course.
This edition is headline Blue Collar King. If you haven't read it, you can find it in the magazine. It's about Antonio Sustiel, and we've written these corner office departments a lot over the 9 years that I've been with Success, and it's usually a little bit different than Antonio Sustiel. These are usually people who are, they work in an office. They are not exactly hands-on. These are leadership stories, but he does it a little bit differently. This is a guy who he came to America with like $400 in his pocket. He's an immigrant from Isreal, and he is very much a multi millionaire down in South Florida with a business called Flooring King. He still runs the forklift, and why does he do that, Jeff?
His father was a workaholic back in Israel, and he never really took to school. I mean, from a young age, 7, 8 years old, he'd skip school and spend the day working with his father. I mean, he's just one of those ingrained people of you work hard for everything that you make. And when I was doing research before I interviewed him, I saw a photo of him on the forklift, and I was like, what is this guy doing? I mean, he has hundreds of people working for him. He doesn't even need to go to the office. I mean, he owns a ton of these flooring stores. And when I was talking to him, he said it's his favorite thing in the world to do is to run the forklift, that it relaxes him. It keeps him, in tune to his roots. And he says, his favorite day is a shipment day because he knows he's going to spend it on the forklift. And I mean, I drove one in college at my summer job, and I don't remember it being relaxing or exciting in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, I get it though. Like, there's something if it is what you started doing in your career. Like, I'm the editor-in-chief of the magazine, right? So I have I go to meetings and I have calls and strategizing this and that. But the most relaxing part of my job is actually editing stories, putting in the commas, taking out misspelled words, that sort of stuff puts me at ease because I can I'm at this point, it's like you could do it in your sleep. And I think that we all probably have a little bit of that. And it's a great lesson for entrepreneurs. If you're passionate about your business, then don't forget to be hands-on with it at times.
What's even more impressive than the forklift, and with my Boston accent, that's not a word I should probably be saying multiple times. But on top of that, he answers all of the company's phone calls. If you call the number, if he doesn't pick up, the receptionist will have him on the phone within a minute or two. And I've never heard of any. I mean, just imagine calling the Cowboys and Jerry Jones picks up. I mean, it's just the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And he'll pick up at any time. I asked him the strangest time he's ever picked up a phone, and he was in a boat race down in Miami. Literally, the race had just started, and they're doing 90 miles an hour, and his phone rings, and he picks it up, and it's a 70-year-old woman buying $500 worth of flooring, and he slows the boat down and takes this woman's order. It's just, it's preposterous, but fascinating. And as you said, I fell in love with the guy. We talked on the phone for, 20, 25, 30 minutes, whatever it was. And I told him at the end of the call, I said, you have to write a book. He's lived one of those most interesting man in the world type of lives.
Yeah, this is a guy. He's been featured on CNBC's Blue Collar Millionaires. He's been on Bloomberg TV. They have plans over the next 3 years to launch as many as 800 new locations of this Flooring King store around the world, in Europe, in Canada, here in the U.S. So, at a certain point, I think he's got to confront the reality that he can't be at every one of those all the time. And that might be tough for him. I wonder if he sees it as one of the big challenges of scaling is being able to take a back seat himself in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest challenge for me when I became a director was delegating. And it's one of those things that if you're a type A personality, which he obviously is, you want at least some control in every facet of what you do. And, you probably dealt with it also, when you went to success, to where you can't do everything. And I do think, as commendable as it is, and as likable as he is, the fact that he's taking phone calls at 10 p.m. for $500 orders, let's be honest, it's ridiculous. It's a waste of his time. And I mean, even the forklift makes for a good story. It makes for good copy, but you're running a company worth tens of millions of dollars. I have to imagine you have something more important to do.
Well, it is certainly against like what the success textbook would teach, but as I always say, like, find a system that works for you and you work in a way that makes you happy, then who's to argue with that?
And I will say it probably endears him to his employees. I think when employees sees the boss willing to do the same types of jobs, like answering the phone and driving the forklift, as them,
there's a bunker mentality.
100%.
Jeff, I enjoyed the story. Antonio Sustiel is a really interesting guy. And I think that, there's a lot to be learned from his story in terms of work ethic and as you say, leadership in that way, especially for while you're on the way up in a startup or scaling, being, down in the nitty gritty with your people is a really important way to keep them, fired up and passionate about working with you. So thanks for sharing it. Hope all of you check it out. And I hope you see me next week for another Between the Lines. So long, everybody.